What's up, Instagram? It's me, it's RCS. I'm going live with a simulcast. So I'm going live on Zoom and I'm also going live here on Instagram. So I'm not sure it's going to work because you guys on Instagram can't see the content I'm presenting. But you know what? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. We'll give it a go. So as you're following along with this, dropping some questions into the chat. Hey, how you doing, guys? So I'm doing a simulcast live on Zoom, live on Instagram. You Instagrammers won't be able to see the content, but if you want to jump in and join the Zoom, if you go to my bio, if you go to the link tree, in there, you can click the top link, I think it is, and you can jump into the Zoom as well. So stand by, here we go. Right then. I don't know how this is going to work, but we'll give it a go. Right, let's crack on, shall we? Hello, guys. How you doing? Hope you're well. Welcome to Zoomstorm. Welcome to formerly known as the Aesthetic Business Forum. But the Aesthetic Business Forum is a very boring title. So we've gone with Zoomstorm. Put some energy into it all. So just a couple of minutes just while people are joining in. I want to just address a question that I was asked, right? And it's quite a good question. And the question was, why are you giving away all of your content and knowledge for free? And it's a valid question, right? And I'll give you the answer. There's a couple of levels to it. One is I'm not giving away all of my knowledge and content for free. This is scratching the surface of what I've learned and picked up over the last 30 odd years in this market. But also there is a truth that we have to accept, which is that knowledge is cheap. Knowledge is essentially free. There's so much out there, the internet, there's so much content out there. I mean, in my book, I give away loads and loads of tips, tricks, insight, QR codes linking to content, so much knowledge I give away in the book. And I enjoy doing these. I very much enjoy doing these. But knowledge is cheap. But what we essentially charge for, what people get paid for, is implementation. People get paid for outcome. And if you're giving a knowledge away, you are essentially showing people the gaps in their own ability to implement. And the growth program that we have is all about implementation. Everything I'm about to show you, everything I'm about to tell you has no value unless you actually do the things, you do the do. So, it's from my point of view, it's about helping you to kind of unblock the gaps, the things that are stopping you from delivering and what you want to be delivering. It's about making you feel positive about moving forward, about taking big steps forward, in the business, not just as business people, but also as, as entrepreneurs, right? People dig into the business side of things, but forget about actually the intangible benefits of it. The sense of the positivity you get, the sense of, achievements that you have by getting all these things, by getting sales, solving people's problems. And unless you commit to actually doing the do, none of that stuff actually matters. None of it really matters. You got 8,760 hours in a year, and if you listen to me every hour for a week, it's probably about 42 hours I probably go live. What are you going to do with the rest of it? And the rest of it's about implementation. So when I kind of bring clients on, it's all about implementation. So, take this knowledge, everything I'm about to share with you as a gift. But the trick question is, how are you going to implement it? How are you going to make it work for you? How are you going to create the change that you need to create in order for it to work, to drive your business forward? So, and that's my challenge to you. It's about implementation. How are you going to implement? Not just about, sitting and absorbing all the knowledge. How are you going to implement these kind of things? So for those of you who joined late, I'm broadcasting on 2 different platforms. I'm on Instagram, hello Instagram, and I'm on Zoom. I don't know how it's going to work on Instagram. I've never done it before, but you guys can't see the content, but you just have to listen to me. If you want to jump into Zoom, go into the link tree in my bio, you click on the top link, then you can register and you can join in there. It's all nice and easy. It's all nice and easy. So tonight, what we're going to be covering, we're going to be talking about is our client, continuing this kind of journey around our client journey. But I want to dig into something, and I put a post out a couple of days ago about conversion rate, and it's a conversation I've been having with people outside of AE as well about what's your conversion rate, and a lot of people quite rightly take great pride in conversion rate being high, 90%. Every one of our clients who we sit in front of becomes a client. I mean, in the chat, and again, in, Instagram world, tell me, what do you think your conversion rate is right now? If you were just to kind of take a little bit of a dip test and think, right, from every client that comes to sit in front of you for a consultation, what percentage do you convert? How high is it? 95%. That's one that's come through, bang, straight away. And that actually is kind of typical. I often hear about 80% plus, 85% is coming through, 90 plus. So, and that always gives me a little bit of a question. And the question is, why is it so high? Does a high conversion rate mean that your business model is working? Does it mean that you're generating really, really good revenue? What do you guys think? Do you think that having a high conversion rate is a marker for, a benchmark, if you like, for success? I'd be interested to know, because what I feel is quite a vague answer, actually. It depends. It entirely depends on your business model. So let me explain what I mean. So I'm going to quickly share my screen with you and walk you through a little bit around the client journey that I kind of take people through. So a couple of points coming up saying, 90% plus, I hoped it was a killer consultation. They've already gained trust from reviews, etc., etc. Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. There's an element of being pre-sold in all of that, which we would expect from quality of content and fully understanding the challenges that your clients have and connecting with them on an emotional level. Absolutely. So this is basically a client model that I've put together and representing, graphically. It's easier to see it. And this essentially is how you make money. This is your business. This is essentially your business model. So as you sort of said, we understand who our ideal client is. We understand who their problems are. We look at the type of content that we create. And that all creates a warm lead. And then from that warm lead, they go through our process and they end up essentially here, which is sat right in front of us, about to embark on a journey. And obviously, the step between lead here and consultation is your first conversion rate, right? It's, how impactful is your booking process? How slick is that onboarding journey? Absolutely great. That's nice and high. Awesome. But then there's a second conversion rate, which is from consultation to treatment, from here to here. And this is the one that everyone's saying is about 80 to 90%. Now, from my point of view, there are a couple of things that impact that. And one of them is actually is pricing. So you could have a killer consultation, but the challenge I'm going to put out is price is an absolute qualifier. So you've got an ideal client in there and they've built all of that trust and everything's coming through. And does your pricing accurately reflect all of this? Or is it a little bit low? And is it maybe because it's low that your conversion rate is high? Are you sacrificing revenue for conversion? And it's an interesting question, because the answer is, it depends on you and your business. But what I sense is a lot of people are afraid of that money conversation. They're afraid of being challenged about price. So they move the price point down to avoid that conversation, to avoid essentially what is a sales process. And one of the kind of things I've seen, I'll stop my screen share and just talk to you guys, because this is a bit of a discussion as well as a kind of a, me throwing data at you, is that we are really good at creating environments for chats. It's a friend of mine who's an Aussie. He kind of explained it to me. He says an Australian and also Americans as well, they create really good at creating buying environments, which is probably why the top 5 most profitable companies in the world are all American, because they don't shy away from sales. It's a skill. It's a discipline. You can go to university, go to college and study sales. It's a legitimate discipline. Whereas in the UK, I still think it's seen as being a little bit on the filthy side, a little bit kind of something you do if you don't know how to do anything else, which is absolute nonsense. So we're great at creating environments for chats. And one of my key principles is that environment dictates performance. So creating the environment to generate a higher level of sale will result in a higher level of sale. And a lot of, at dropping in things like skin analysis machines, all of those kinds of things add value to your client, that experience. And if it adds value to the experience, then your price needs to balance it, right? Your price needs to balance it. The experience you give, the price that you ask, is fair exchange, and that should be balanced. Again, my experience is it's out of whack. There's a really great experience, but often the pricing doesn't kind of match up. So, and the question is that because there's the fear of having that conversation around price? What do you guys think? Give me some feedback here. 50% you, 50% me. What do you guys think? Am I on the money? Am I full of shit? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Where are you at with all of this? So the question then is, how can you improve your consultation? Looking at that model again, that model there is essentially how, as I said, it's how you make money. It's your client journey. It's how you generate revenue. It's a clinical pathway. It's a communication pathway. And it never going through this model requires consistent iteration and consistent improvement. From understanding your ideal client, it's never done. That's one thing to remember with these kind of models, is they're never just done. They always require iteration and improvement. So ideal client, oh yeah, I've done it once, that's it, I don't need to worry about it again. That's not true. You need to refine, make sure that you're still targeting the right client, because people change. Your content, have you created the environment to stimulate word of mouth? Have you, when you Google yourself, are you kind of, as we call, Google famous, right? So, have you got your Google My Business and Google local searches all set up? If you haven't done that, speak to Rick O'Neill in the digital group and he will put you straight, because that's a huge gap that a lot of people have, is, throwing lots of money at Google ads, but actually haven't got the fundamentals done. Instagram, again, have you got your A game on Instagram? Have you got a LinkedIn profile that's, the all-star profile? Are you putting the right content out? So obviously we're asking ourselves questions all the way through this journey to then get a lead. What's the quality of that lead? Are we tracking all of this? What's the quality of lead that we're getting? When they book through the web page and they're sitting in front of us, there are a few questions to ask, right? So one, are we getting enough leads through, and are they the right quality? Second thing is, right, they're sat in front of us. Are we getting enough consultations? Are they the right quality? And a key question to ask is, what kind of conversations are you having? So as David mentioned earlier about being pre-sold, that's fantastic. So that gives you the opportunity to talk broader about, treatments and services that you provide. But what kind of conversations are you having? What depth of conversations are you having? And then they move into your procedures. What percentage convert? If every single one of your consultations converts from a consultation to a treatment, okay, that's great. But what if you increased your prices? Where would the pinch be? Would it actually reduce the number of leads you've got coming through, or would it reduce the number of people who convert? And I don't think that actually reducing the number of people that convert is a bad thing, because you'll be getting more revenue per person. So, because the other thing that also I think impacts all of this is the quality of lead and the quality of consultation also determines how far through your client journey they go. So what's your retention rate like? So there are a number of different metrics to track outside of this, judging your business success on the number of people that convert from a consultation to a treatment. I think it's one metric, but it needs to be taken as a picture. It needs to be taken as an element of a story. And the story goes leads, appointments, procedures, and sales. So what does that look like? What do I mean by leads, appointments, procedures, and sales? Well, luckily enough, I have a tracker for that. I always love a tracker. And our tracker is a way of recording, and this is something that the growth guys who probably they don't even know about it yet because I've not spoken to about it. I'm going to speak to them on Monday about it at our workshop. Is being used to track how this process goes. We've got digital. If you don't have a digital process to track all of this, sometimes it's difficult to get the data out. We've got to do it manually. And what we want to be doing is looking at the conversion rates. So how many leads are we getting? How many of them convert? That's conversion rate number one, or conversion point number one. How many consultations have we got, or appointments? How many of them converting to a procedure? How many of them can then obviously convert to a sale? I mean, that should be 100% because it's the same thing. But what's the average spend? Again, key. So these are three things that you want to track in that very early stage of your journey. And data is one of the things that makes this go round. So I told you, implementing that model is about focus, consistency, and discipline. So tracking these things gives you a bit of a head start, but it helps you understand how your business is running, how things work. So comments, points, anybody on Instagram? Hello, I'll say hello to you guys. So Kay, hello, Tracy, hello, Amy, hello, Sally, hello, Sarah, how you doing? David, hello, Sonia, hello, Kelly, hello. We got Mark, how you doing? A little enhancement, welcome. Tara, how are you? James, how are you? Jay Port, sorry, I don't know who you are, but welcome. Lee, hello. Rick, hello, doing I was just talking about you. SJ, Skin Rejuvenation, hello, Arena. Nisha, hello. Holly, hello. How you doing, guys? So yeah, questions. 50% you, 50% me today. I'm not doing all the work, so this is a discussion point. So one thing someone's just put in there is Kelly, I suppose I haven't counted the leads that start with how much they never convert. So that is a quality of lead. By looking at how many of those are coming through, is this what can you do in your client journey to repel? Remember, it's about attraction and repel. So our marketing is what attracts, and the sales process is essentially the push part. And funny enough, the best businesses are the ones that balance that well. So lots and lots of pull in the content, marketing, etc., etc. This is a pull. This is part of pull. Coming into my world. Listening to what I'm saying. Think, yeah, this guy. He kind of, might know what he's talking about. And then you jump to a strategy call. At the end of the strategy call, that's push. We've created the environment, and then I'm asking you, hey, look, how can I help you? Do you want me to help you? And that's the question. And that is essentially, that's the question that leads on to, the uncomfortable conversations about money. It's the conversation about delivery. It's a conversation about value. It's about all of those different things. And if you're prepared for that conversation, it makes it easier. It makes it easier for you to have. So why not war game those conversations that are difficult for you? Find a friend, and not your annoying mate who, will ask you the really challenging questions that you're afraid of answering, and war game it. Part of sales strategy. We role played conversations and meetings so many times. Think about the reps that come to see you. Do you not think that they have practiced the conversation that they're going to have with you? If they're good, they should have. And they've probably had that conversation with many, many people. So until they're comfortable with it, comfortable with the language. So, if there's a particular thing that you get stuck on that you really don't like, that a particular, client has given you, war game it. Or role play it. I did it when I started off in sales. I sold digital printing. I mean, my God, if you ever want to get something that's a pain, it's horrendous to sell, is digital printing. It sucked. It really did. Talk about, a commercial, people talk about a commoditized service. Printing is commoditized. And I thought, you know what, I was full of enthusiasm and youth. So I was like, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and sell to Sony. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and sell to Sony. It was Sony Computer Entertainment, because I like PlayStation. So I want to do all the printing for PlayStation. So I did. I rang them up, cold call, bang, straight in. I got my ass handed to me, literally on the first phone call by the woman on the other end of the phone. It was brutal. She just, asked me all these questions about, value proposition, all these sorts of stuff. I didn't know the answers to them. I was only young. I just started. And I went away and I learned the answers to every question that she asked me. And I made sure that I knew exactly what it was. And I phoned her back a couple of weeks later and said, hey, do you remember me? You asked me a load of really challenging questions. And she was like, oh, God, I said, well, look, I know the answers now and I'd really like to help. So we had that discussion. And actually, she was quite impressed that I went away and learned, built trust, went in, had a meeting with Sony. And I think about 3 months later, they did come on as a client. It was only a small couple of jobs, but I won, that was the process that I've always been through. Exactly the same thing happened to me when I joined this market, when I joined the aesthetics market. A fantastic lady who I love to death, called Maria Brennan Thorns, was one of my first calls when I was selling Hydrofill. And she ripped me a new one. She absolutely destroyed me. I didn't know much about the product. I was going in for a chat. She was like, don't waste my time coming in here for chats. Know your stuff, know your product. So I did. Again, I thought, right, okay, that's another ass licking I've got. I will go away. And I went away and I learned pretty much everything there was to know about HAs. Went back in, had a conversation with her. She didn't buy. She was, Restylane through and through at that point, but it was the catalyst for my career. I was then confident that if I thought I got beat up by her, no one else is going to go after me as hard as that. And it was one of the things that I've just done throughout my career is, if I don't know something, bloody hell, I'm going to find out and I'm going to learn more about it than anybody else. Bit of a weird story rant there. I hope that was kind of useful, but that's the approach I think you need to take, is rather than being afraid of the conversations, take it on. Because I did say that I was going to share with you what the secret ingredient was for getting all of this, for generating increased level of sales, for generating more money. There is a secret ingredient. Would you like to know what it is? Yes, there we go. See, it is also the power of silence, but yes, it is. Okay, you're not going to like it. The secret ingredient is balls. Plain and simple. It's balls. It's bottle. It's just having it in you to take it on. It's just sheer bollocks, persistence, and drive. It's that. It's nothing more than that. Preparation, yes. Maths, yes. Understanding, yes. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to how badly you want it, and how prepared you are to deal with the emotions that stop you from moving forward. And that's just bollocks. That's just bravery. Simple as that. So again, it's part of dealing with that whole, your mindset issues. A lot of this is in your heads. This, I can't do this, I can't do that, my pricing this, my pricing that, my clients won't do this, my clients won't do that. It's a lot of assumptions made in your head before people have even walked in through the door, and they're not true. So your takeaway from this, if you like, your action point from this one is, if that's what you're feeling is stopping you, then lean into it and find the solution. And the solution, I pretty much guarantee you, is preparing, feeling that adrenaline build, and then learning how to handle the adrenaline when you're in those situations. And that's what's called creating a sales environment is all about. Rather than a chat, that's why a lot of us default to chats, because you want to move back from that fear. You want to move away from it. You don't want to move close to pain. You want to move away from the pain. But if you're prepped and suck it up, big deep breath in, it's $1,000. It's for us to do what we need to do. It's going to cost £1,000. That's it. And if that's really uncomfortable, you can get up and go for a little walk away. But it's having the balls to have those conversations and then not let discount Tourette's jump in and discount the price or anything like that. It's just being direct, being almost, think about what your goal is. If you get this, if this price, what will that mean? And what it will do also is it will trigger things in you. Your confidence will grow. Your abilities as a professional will grow as well. So don't shy away from these things. Step towards them because they're really, really important. Right, I've ranted enough. So just to kind of bring this back up and summarize all of this, right? So please don't take these things at face value, okay? There are multiple data points in your business. And what I don't want you to do is suddenly think that just because my conversion rate between appointments and procedures is really high, that everything is working, that my business is brilliant and everything's great. We need to look at leads. How many leads are we getting through? What quality are they? Are they the right avatar? And if they are, fantastic. That's brilliant. What content have they watched? Have they, is it YouTube that they're looking at? What is it that they're reviewing? What is it that they're looking at? And we can do that through mapping our social scores. So again, every week what we get the guys to do is just, write their email list in, just, pen and paper. How many people on your email list? How many Instagram followers you got? How many Facebook followers you got? What's your web traffic like? How many LinkedIn connections have you got? How many TikTok followers, YouTube followers, subscribers, and if you're in Pinterest? These are the main social media networks that kind of most people are on. So if you're not on all of them, don't worry about it, but just fill out the ones that you are. And then you'll see over time, does that grow? We'll also be getting you guys to create this content strategies. So what's the big message? What's the benefit statement? What's the call to action? Then what the content they're going to create and how to distribute it. So by breaking all of that down into steps, what we're seeing is basically how many leads are we going to be generating? Then we can understand, okay, from how do they convert? What's the mechanism of contacting? Hopefully not many of you are still sat on the phone on, WhatsApp at, 10 o'clock at night, answering questions from clients, because, if that's what's happening, then there's a break in your process between leads and appointments. You shouldn't be doing that. You funnel people to one point. And if that's your booking system or a phone call, whatever it is, you lead your clients to the point where you want them to actually engage with you. That's what a call to action is called. Then from appointments, how many of the leads are sitting in front of us, and then from that appointment, how many of them are jumping into actually having treatments? And if this is high, great, but just put some thought into it and interrogate it a little bit. Is it high because my pricing is not quite? Is it high because my leads, my content is so amazing that they can't help but buy from me? Fine, analyze it. Don't use assumption, knowing is better than believing. And then I will be happy and I will shut up about it. And then from there, it's right, the procedures, they're moving in, they're having that entry level treatment. How much are they spending? And that'd be interesting to see what the correlation is between these two, So, and if you track this over time, this will give you some really, really nice data. And it's a really quick, simple way of tracking it. And that's, and that there is implementation. That's the implementation step. It's the doing. Because as I said right at the beginning of this session, is I can give you all the knowledge and all the information in the world. I've written a book on it. But my second book, by the way, I updated this one. This has got another 100 and whatever it is pages of additional useful content in this compared to the previous one. And all the things I learned during the pandemic, all the things that we're kind of talking about now, they're all in this book. If you want a copy of it, you can go onto the website and you complete the scorecard. I'll put the link in, complete the scorecard, and you'll get access to a digital copy of said book. And you can read it. But if you don't take action, none of this matters. None of this matters. And that's really, why I wanted to kind of get across to this evening is, it's fantastic having so many people turning up to these workshops. I love having you all here. But now it's if you're not implementing, let's look at why you're not implementing. And if you're finding it difficult, book a strategy call and I will help you find the blocks, popping the link into the chat there, but I will help you find out what those blocks are. If I can help you and we move forward into the growth program, we do all these sorts of things, that's fantastic. If we don't, you know what? That's equally okay, because my conversion rate, I'm happy with 3 to 1. I'm happy to have 3 strategy sessions and get 1 client from 3, because I know that not everyone is right for me. Not everybody is at the right time. Not everybody is at the right point in their journey. Not everybody is prepared to, put the invest what they need to invest to be able to do this. It's and that's okay, because ultimately what I'm doing is sifting to try and find those are. And entrepreneurship is actually self-selecting. You'll find, it's a relatively straightforward process. And you do exactly the same thing. So the question I'm asking you tonight is your consultation process helping you select the right people? And your retention rate will tell you that. Or are you shying away from having people say, walk out the door because you're avoiding having those pricing conversations? There we go. If you're enjoying these sessions, I really would love it if you would actually, hey, pay it forward a little bit. And I've put in a link to a Google review. As you know, right, I talk about Google reviews a lot. They are incredibly powerful. Video reviews are fantastic, but everyone needs to be able to collecting Google reviews. So if you're enjoying these sessions with me, please, don't hesitate to leave a little review. So 2 links are in there, a link for a strategy call and a link for a Google review. So right now I'm going to open up for questions. Has anybody we've got time? Anybody got anything that they want to ask? Any observations? Anybody? Actually, I'll ask you a question, right? What are you going to implement? There we go. Oh, that's a stinger of a question, isn't it? What are you guys going to implement? So if you're not going to ask me a question, I'll ask you that one. So yeah, if you want to jump off mute, feel free to put a question or in the chat and I'll read it out. Or you can jump off mute and ask me directly on Instagram. If you want to ask a question, feel free to pop it into the comments. Let's go. 50% you, 50% me. This is the 50% of you, the Q&A bit, the fun part. Let's go. It's always the same way. It's always the way. It was like, no. Come on. There must be some question. There must be some question, something, insight, even if it's just something you want to share. Yep, I put you all on the spot. I don't mind if you type it in. I'm happy to read the questions out, just like Facebook Live. I'm even happier if you guys want to turn your cameras on and so I can see your lovely faces. That makes me very happy. Not that the goal here is to make me happy at all, but it is what it is. But if there is genuinely nothing else, what would you? We can drop it off. Okay, cool. Here we go. So I've got 2 questions at the same time, one on Instagram and one on Zoom. So the Zoom question came in first, and then I'll come to yours. So the Zoom question is, how does everyone track their conversations? That's a really good question, and that's for you guys, for the group, right? So how do you track your conversions, rather? So I would be interested to know that as well. How do you currently track that conversion from lead to a consultation? Or do you track them? So make it really simple. Put a Y if you do track them and an N if you don't track them. That just will simplify it. And then those who put yes, I'd like to know how you do it. So just, Y if you do, and an N if you don't. Okay. Question from the Insta, Irina. Is it better to have professional videos or on the phone? That's a great question. Is it better to have professional videos about treatments, educational content to attract, build trust, and make leads for bookings? I think it's a combination, if I'm honest. You can do what you call it like a brand level video. So we've got one of those. You go onto the Aesthetic Entrepreneur's website, we've got our brand level video, which is awesome, but there's only one of those. I do a lot of videos like this. I actually think it's okay if you haven't got the budget to do these kind of big super duper vids, to do them on your phone. You know, that's the one thing that the pandemic also gave us, was it kind of desensitized everybody to mobile phone created content. I've watched an entire documentary that was done on mobile. It was one about the January the 6th assault on the in Washington. And actually the whole documentary was put together using iPhone or video footage interspersed with interviews that were done through Zoom, because the whole thing was built during the pandemic. And it was actually okay. It was really, really good. And it was the content quality that's engaging. So I wouldn't worry too much about the medium, about how you're putting that out. What I would do is think about the message. You know, what's compelling to your customer? What is it they want to know? What's going to really trigger them? What's going to help you? What's going to help them understand? Do videos convert better on a website? I like seeing videos on websites. I really do. Do they convert? I think, yeah, absolutely. They give you more depth to your content. You know, websites can be quite dull, I think. And it's like, right, you know, they will sort of say very, very similar things. And if there's a video from you, like an origin story or something like that, or video testimonials, I think it adds an awful lot of flavor to that whole experience, because that's what you're building. Remember, it's experience for your clients. Okay, jumping back into that question, how does everyone track their consultations? Many people aren't. Sarah's responded saying she gets more response from our voiceover treatment videos and reels than we did from the professional videos we ever had done. Yeah, absolutely. It's more engaging content. And I think the overall message here is that people aren't tracking their conversion points. And if you're not doing that, then you need to start doing it. And this really simple way of doing it is just, how many leads am I getting? How many appointments am I getting? Over time, you'll get that conversion rate will start to show, because that's your first conversion point. You know, how many leads am I getting, and then how many of them are becoming appointments. You know, it's difficult to track that journey specifically without software. Like client A signs up and then becomes a client. Lead A signs up, becomes a appointment, becomes a consultation, treatment, sale. That's difficult to do with that software. But what you can do, just as a rough and ready version, is track it for a month, literally every day. How many leads have we got? Bosh, 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 bosh. And there it is. That's what happened.
Live videos,
actually, to just further point on the videos. So years ago, I had a video done. I'm going to share it in the Telegram group, in our client group, so you can see it. Right. I'll share a couple of videos. One was the professional video I had done. Literally no one gave a shit about it. No one cared. Honestly, it was just like, might as well have not bothered. I loved it at the time. It was great. It was like, I was all professional. It's all brilliant. There's a great story there. Well, I thought it was a great story anyway. No one gave a hoot. And that's for iConsult. And then, as many of you know about that story, then I ran out of money. iConsult died. And I was like, right, shit, I've got to build this again. So I did a video in my dining room on my old digital SLR. And that was probably the most successful videos I've ever done. It cost me nothing. The reason was the message. I nailed the message on the second video. And on the first video, it was scripted and it just didn't work. So I always come back to this point, is it's more important about what you're saying and how you're saying it, rather than the quality of the video. There's an old adage that people remember, was it 20% of what you said and 80% of how you said it, something like that. And that rings true in content. So it's great that you're creating it, by the way. That's great you're creating it. Okay. I really liked your initial comment about giving knowledge for free. I find our one-to-one coaching invaluable, as you hold me accountable to ensure you implement the advice you give. I've only been with you a few months and I've already streamlined the business and feel more inspired. Thank you very much, Kay. That is lovely. That's so lovely. I'm going to screenshot that. Don't, just another little bit of free tip is anytime anyone says anything nice about you, screenshot it. And what you've got there, I've got a little review. So none of you don't give me a Google review. Fine, I've got one from Kay. So, but also, yeah, add it to a brag file. Add it to a brag file. Anytime someone says nice about you, screenshot it, because that there, when I share it, is social proof. Anyway, we're going off on a bit of a tangent. So I think, so summarize, right? Listening to those, basically those of you who said, I don't track my, your processes, you definitely need a strategy call, because that's one of the things that you really need to fix. It's as your business matures, your systems will have to mature as well. Because you know, and again, the conversations I have with the guys who in the growth program and performance program, they know this as well, is at a certain point I ask for data, right? You know, for me to help, I need data. The first part of data I need is around your, you know, your financial requirements. You know, what do you need? Hey, you know, how much money do you want? Once I understand how much money you want and I understand how much money you're getting, what I have in there is called the delta. And then that's when I know, right, how big is this task going to be to get from where you are to your lofty ambitions of revenue coming through the till? Because then that determines that business model, what parts we have to work on. Because, you know, from there, it's like, you know, how many clients have you got? How many leads are you generating? All those different things. That helps me or anyone to help you create that business model. And without that data, we're blind. You know, anyone who ever tells you, anybody comes to you and says, hey, I can help you grow your business, and never asks you for data, throw them out, man, because data is the numbers are the language of business. And, you know, I can't survive without data. I can't help without data. Any sales rep ever needs data on their territory. You know, what's the territory value? You know, how many people have I got? What are their average spend? You know, all these different things. That doesn't change when you run a business. You know, I track the same number of things, you know, number of leads coming through. How many strategy calls am I doing? How many am I converting from a strategy call? What's my retention like, or churn rate, as I call it? You know, all of these things are important. So if you're not tracking them, jump on a call with me, and, you know, we'll look at a way you can do it. And if, you know, from then onwards, if you want to work with me, that's absolutely fine. If you don't, hey, at least I've helped you solve that problem. And it's an important problem to solve. Okay, slightly off topic, says Sally. How do you set a link to send to patients to direct them to leave a Google review? Do you know what? Here's one I made earlier. I'm going to put my link into there. There you go. That's the link. Now you're going to ask me how I did it, and I'm trying to remember. You go to it. Do you know what, mate? Let me share my screen with you. If we do a bit of live, I like doing. I'm all right like doing this. Here we go. Let's make it live. You do it on your Google My Business page. So let me find that. Talk amongst yourselves for a sec. And right, no, that's it. It's that one there. And then Cetic Entrepreneurs. And then, right, here we go. Okay. So you do it through your Google My Business profile. Let me share my screen with you and you can see this. Sorry for you guys on Instagram, you're missing out on this experience. But then if you go to the link in my link tree, and at the top, there's talks about Zoom Storms. And if you want to jump on to, you know, this next time, if you've been listening and thinking, oh, that sounds interesting, and actually see what I'm talking about, you know, register and jump in. So here we go. So this is my Google My Business page. So essentially what you do is you just log in with Google, you go to the apps, you go to business profile, you click on that, and it should take you here. And then as you scroll down, you see a little button there says get more reviews. You click on that, and then that provides you with a link. And then you just literally copy the link and you can send that to your clients, and they can click on that and give you a review. So Sally, because that was so absolutely amazingly useful, you've got to test my link out now, and you've got to give me a review. There we go. So there we go. So Rosie, love to do a collaboration with you regarding consultation and patient journey planning. Let's do it. Let's chat. If anybody going to be at ACE on Friday? I'm going to be there on Friday only. So if you want to come, if you want to grab coffee, you're buying, but that's fine. If you want to grab a coffee, I'd love that to happen. If you want to buy me a beer, you're buying again, but that would be awesome too. Generally what happens when I go to these conferences is I'll be there about 9, I'll do a few laps, go for a coffee, get a bit bored, and then I will do a few more laps, and then about 3 o'clock I've had enough and I'll be in the pub. So yeah, that's generally what happens. Yes, Rick is doing a talk, but not me. I know. Well, it's maybe I do enough talking for enough people, but I did a talk at CCR last year, and there'll be different. We tend to run our own events, and this year actually on the 24th of March we've got our first event, but June and October there'll be information coming out about the AE GSDs, Get Shit Done sessions that we'll be running. So yes, I'll be there. Where to find me? I will be I'll be on or around the Konya stand, the Emerald Laser stand. I'm doing a talk on the stand actually. That's how I roll. I go niche. We're doing a talk on the stand about capital equipment launches. I think 2 o'clock. I'm around there. But I'm not hard to miss. I'm not hard to miss. Yeah, I'm not easy. There's easy. Well, I can't work out. It's late, easy or hard to miss. One of those two things. But yeah, seek me out. Yeah, I'd love to. I'm hard to miss. There we go. Thank you, Amy. I'm hard to miss. Be awesome to catch up, do some selfies, get some content, all that kind of stuff, and make if I can help you, I will. Awesome. Has that been? I already have your review page up and ready. Excellent. So that's link number 1 you clicked, and then the second one is obviously book in the strategy call, and let's help you find your paths through all of this.
Richard, it's Sally.
Okay, guys. I think that's enough for this evening. Has that been useful? Slightly different flavor to the session tonight, where I wanted to just deal with a particular thing that popped up. So next week we'll be back into the rhythm of things. Next week is our session. Are there still spaces on the 24th? Yeah, there are actually. There's a couple. I'll ping you a link over. Actually, I've got your email address. Anyway, in fact, let me do it now. It's always the thing. Never miss an opportunity. Never miss an opportunity. Campaign mastery. There we go. That's the link. So this is the link to the event on the 24th. And yeah, if you're interested in jumping into that, please do. That's gonna be a really, really good session actually. So it's gonna be a combination. It's a combination of different types of businesses. So a combination of some of our our performance clients will be there, some of our growth clients will be there, and actually some people obviously just signed up from the AE community as well. And what we're going to be doing is taking you on a bit of a journey, and the journey is through a campaign process, and the campaign process essentially is my mentor, or Heather Hancock, is going to be doing a talk. And Heather's she's incredible. She's just one of the most talented people I've ever met. And she's incredible at behavioral science. I mean, she sorted me out. So, bloody hell, that was not exactly an easy thing to do. Looking at your North Star, we're going to be looking at how, you create a broad strategy for your business and tie it into your life. We do a session in growth around goal setting. This is slightly different. This is, from a much more strategic perspective. And Heather's background is in behavioral science. She's a double MBA, 2 degrees, properly clever, but also implementation. She really gets you to do things. So yeah, she's going to be covering off an amazing session. I'm going to be doing about the nuts and bolts of creating a campaign. So my goal is that you leave that day having your next year mapped out in campaigns. you create the general marketing noise, but then what we want to be having are peaks, like campaigns, because campaigns put energy into your market, put energy into your business, energy into your marketing. You are in the middle of one of my campaigns. These weekly workshops, this is a Q1 camp, this is a campaign for me. And it puts energy into it. I'm loving doing it. It's all these wonderful things. So I'm going to take you through the nuts and bolts of basically how you do it and structure it. And then Stevie Potter, the Pocket Rocket, is a dentist, but also she's a GB triathlete and AE. We sponsor her. She's going to be doing a bit about performance mindset because Stevie's, and I completely agree with her on this. To be an entrepreneur, being a business owner, you're kind of like a business athlete. So we have to start thinking about how we are looking after ourselves, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and take a kind of an athlete mentality to our work, as much as we possibly can, and then because it's a Friday and in London, we'll probably do some drinks afterwards, and it's a beautiful venue. So it's at the one of our partners is Lockton International, so one of the largest privately owned insurance company in the world. And we partner with them, and they've graciously given us use of one of their rooms, their boardroom. So it's going to be an incredible City of London office block. Glass everywhere. Lunch is provided. What's not to like? And guys on Instagram, if you're listening and you're interested, ping me a message, and I'll send you the information. So, Kay, I love this event. Are you going to do another one? As you know, I'm on holiday. The answer to that question is yes. They're going to be quarterly. I'm going to get the dates out for the next ones as soon as I can. And there'll be one regional event, and then in October I want to do a big old 2-dayer, 1 day business, 1 day clinical, as sort of close the year out. Maybe even throw an award ceremony into it and all that sort of stuff as well. But that's on the horizon as we grow AE, as we move into our, the next phase of the business, expanding, looking at moving into different territories. Hello, SJ, how you doing? It's all good. It's all good stuff. Right. On that note, I'm going to exit. Thanks again for your attention, your questions, and your engagement tonight. I'm glad that was useful for you. We're back again next week, same time. So keep an eye on your emails and on the Facebook group. If there's a subject you want me to talk about, let me know. I'm quite happy to talk about most things. But if there's something that that you really would like me to actually deal with, let me know. And yeah, I hope to see some of you all on Friday. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. Have a great rest of the week, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye now.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.